Who could have predicted that Jyoti Gondek, a radical progressive whose first actions included declaring a climate emergency, and who is one of the sort of worst offenders when it comes to callously shutting out journalists, even if they politely request an interview or want to ask a question that's maybe not just pumping her tires. She's not particularly popular in Calgary right now. So she is basically dealing with a 36% approval rating. 55% of respondents remained disenchanted, while 40% strongly oppose their mayor, and only 10% strongly favor her. Sid, why do you think the mayor is not particularly popular here? She won an election not all that long ago.
Well, I mean, how many protests has she banned by now? She banned honking. She banned, going to certain areas. You can't be within a certain distance if you're going to protest one of the LGBTQ, drag queen story reading hours at a public library. People are getting arrested for that. People are going to jail for that. And this is thanks to Mayor Jyoti Gondek. So it really does not surprise me that her support is going down. Especially if you look at some of the alternatives in the province, like the UCP, who it seems to be that they are still able to, they have a strong foot in good news, let's put it that way. Whereas Gondek, she has a few small friends, a few, minor journalists in the area. Of course, the mainstream cozies up to her, but really, what is she doing for us? Like,
Yeah.
I can't picture anything that she's actually doing for us.
Yeah, no, and I mean beyond that, not that I'm necessarily for spending massive amounts of money on an arena deal or anything like that, but that was basically set and ready to go. And with the mass spending on other things that we're seeing from, or we would have certainly seen under the NDP and had seen under the NDP before, that deal was set. People were ready to go. Everything was sort of done, signed, sealed, delivered. She botched that in the eyes of almost everyone, and the new deal is far worse. Like it's she messed that up. The Flames were like, all right, later, and they came back and they got a better deal. They slam dunked on her. There's also been this sort of absolute unwillingness and softness on crime that has turned this city into like a borderline Gotham in some areas. Things that
Yeah.
I would not have seen in the city growing up. They've been just expedited to the point where Daniel Smith basically had to come in, and it almost looked like a principal and a teacher getting in trouble when Smith was there talking about bringing in sheriffs, restoring law and order. That stuff should be handled by the municipality, but the city of Calgary, the Calgary police chief, and Jyoti Gondek, so married to their sort of radical progressive ideas, they have faltered on those fronts. The other thing too is, I mean, we're seeing disapproval for Trudeau significantly. He's dropping. The NDP obviously just lost here. And Jyoti Gondek, obviously low approval, very low sort of strong approval ratings. Part of this does stem from the fact, going back to the election, that you had a lot of sort of strong or semi-strong conservative candidates dividing the vote, and then you had a unified progressive candidate. 36% might be a little bit high, to be honest, because the amount of people who sort of voted for other candidates, and it didn't just occur on the mayoral level. It also happened within the individual wards within the city, where there'd be two or three conservative candidates and one sort of progressive candidate. So the progressive vote was consolidated. For that reason alone, am not at all surprised to see this. But beyond that, Jyoti Gondek has had a number of stunts where she's like, "I'm not answering questions if that person was here." In fact, the other day I ran into Jyoti very, very briefly after an event, and all my gear was packed away. I wasn't rolling. I was leaving the Stampede grounds, and it was sort of a quick intersection. But the one time when I saw her, she's like, "Oh, hey," very sort of fake. The second time, she had her whole team with her, and I didn't even approach Jyoti. I was just walking by. I went to someone assuming she was kind of the handler, seeing, oh, like, if I grab my stuff, are you guys willing to do a quick thing? Just because my gear was all put away. And basically security guards kind of backed towards me, and they went, no, 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 they wouldn't allow, and they kind of scurried out of there quickly. They wouldn't even have a conversation saying, no, we're not doing interviews today. That entitlement that we're seeing among progressive politicians who are supposedly for the people, whether it be Justin Trudeau, whether it be Rachel Notley, or whether it be Jyoti Gondek, who she has this massive entourage. Mayors in Calgary used to just walk around and talk to people. Now everywhere she goes for a coffee, there's security. They take themselves so seriously, more seriously than Trudeau's people. Those people will smile and say hi at the very least before shutting you down. So this air of entitlement is something else. I don't. Have you had any sort of personal encounters or experiences?
Not directly with Jyoti Gondek. However, I can speak to. I'll address the Sheila Annette Lewis story that I brought up in the beginning. I spoke to Danielle Smith about this in passing, and she sent an email response to my question. She actually answered the questions I had about Sheila Annette Lewis. And if you want to find out more about that story, go to organsnotcoercion.ca. We have a petition that we're going to hand to the health minister. But when I pose these questions to the NDP, it's radio silence. They will not answer questions. Jyoti Gondek, I've seen her walk away, not even refuse to answer a question, simply walk away from the microphone because she doesn't want to answer questions. Rachel Notley evicts independent journalists from her events simply because she doesn't want to answer her any questions. Justin Trudeau, I mean, somehow, myself and Angelica, we were at the Justin Trudeau George Chahal Stampede breakfast, and we tried. Obviously he doesn't let us into the events. And the day previous, we were actually denied entry to the Danielle Smith Justin Trudeau meeting that took place here in downtown Calgary. So Trudeau obviously doesn't want us at these events. He seemingly couldn't deny our presence at that one, so we tried to ask as many questions as we could. And of course, he didn't answer a single one. He's just there for the marathon selfie taking and, hi, how are you? Good to see us. That's all he's there for. He's not there to have a serious conversation. He's not there to ask questions that people want answers to.